OMG for the majority of the playoffs, because in the regular season, he played 13 times, won 9 games, lost 4, pretty high win rate. And then when he got it in the playoffs, he played 2 games of it so far in the playoffs. He's won both of those games with like exceptional KDAs on it as well, like something ridiculous. But because KDA on those 2 games is like 21 combined or something ridiculous. I think he's died once or something. So absolutely monstrous performance coming out from Abel on this champion. It's why we see it banned away so often. Allah going towards the Jack, saying, look, we're happy for Fofo to go into whatever he wants in this matchup. I will say Fofo still hasn't even brought out the Azir yet, something that he is very, very prolific on. And now EDG can start to give Allah back some of that agency, something that we haven't really seen OMG give over to SHANGHAI.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see what the options are going to be for OMG in the top lane department. I think for now, for the bans, 2 options, mid or jungle. You can technically leave you one at both, right? If you want to remove away something like Lissandra, maybe. Could be a good idea. Lissandra Lee Sin as a duo, very, very strong. I could see EDG playing something like that. Lee Sin or Annie as well. So there's one for OMG. I think in the outright matchup in the 2v2 into something like Ahri and Vi can be quite strong. And for OMG, I'm expecting either split bans or an additional ban maybe towards the Viego, as that was what JJ played last game, and it did do pretty well.
Getting rid of a lot of these kind of engaged champions right now from the jungle side of things. Actually, the Wukong banned away as well, or let's say maybe the Viego, the Gragas and the Malphite being banned away here by EDG. Kind of say, look, we want to see you try bring something up on that top side. You can see there big smiles on the side of OMG. Good respect. That is 5 top lane bans alone from EDG,
wow.
let alone the Jason Fiora from OMG. That's 7 top lane bans in this series.
I'm just going to say it. The Shy could never. Not 5. Not all 5. SHANGHAI draws 5.
Ooh, those fighting words.
It's fighting words, but I'll say it. Look, as we look at R4 now, SHANGHAI will have his work cut out for him, because it looks like it's going to be Sejuani plus Jax in the top side for EDG. So they've got strong team fighting, strong skirmish in the 2v2 on the top side. Now mid lane as well has the opportunity maybe for Fofo to go towards something like the Sylas. I think OMG going to look at the Renard and lock that one in. I quite like it, to be honest with you. I think into the general dive and forward movement that EDG have now started to draft themselves into.
Do it.
It's quite a good look. Darius. Oh, I mean,
come on. No, I knew it. I was like, maybe the Gnar would be fine, but no, gotta go for it. Yeah, look, you can even see him. He knew it. He knew what they were doing right there, baiting us all in, looking for that kind of setup. But it's gonna be the Sion back in here for SHANGHAI in that top side. I will say, should have a little bit of an easier time to be able to CS and kind of keep relevancy against the Jax. Melee into melee should be able to kind of trade that one back fairly decently. And the Renata I love as well, because you touched on it very briefly. You're going into so many champions that just want to try and jump on top of you, run into you, and be close range. The Renata just disengages all of that with the hostile takeover.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the Veigar on the opposite side from EDG, whilst in isolation, a fairly good pick into the Ahri. Also has a fair amount of value also in dealing with Aphelios. He hates these big AoE zoning tool abilities, which make him have to, you know, really think twice about overstepping. But not only that, I think it's just strong AP and consistent scaling throughout the entirety of the game, with strong burst follow-up on a lot of engaged tools available to EDG. I think for OMG, a lot is going to be relying on this mid-jungle in terms of what they can get done, especially once the level 6s come online, and how they can force and break apart the mid part of the map. So I think on the side of EDG, it's the side lanes which are really good, should in theory be flourishing, right? 2v2 on the bottom side should be very strong. Jax, whilst he might not be able to move Sion in the super early phases of the game, once he gets a couple of those items online, becomes that side lane threat, and eventually even that team fight threat too.
Well, teams are locked and loaded. Going to be seeing very similar setups here, but again, the bot lane is the one I'm going to be looking at very keenly. We've seen some small fireworks in game 1 and 2 from this bot lane. We'll see if we see any more coming into this one here, and I actually find it very interesting as well. The Zeri completely falling off the priority right now for both these teams, kind of saying, look, we prefer the Xayah and the Aphelios. Maybe this is the adaptation that we've all been waiting for. See if 200 years or if a lovers duo is bigger and better than the either of the two. But jumping onto the Rift, it is even Stevens right now. If you're just joining us, it is 1-1 on the scoreboard. OMG get themselves onto the blue for the first time this series. We will see if either of these teams can take an advantage in that all-important one last step towards getting themselves a date with JDG in the winners final.
2 more individual games until that winners final meet up with JDG as possible for either of these 2 teams. It's a best of 3 now. And you know, to go on your point about Zeri not being here, now that Zeri's not on the Rift, I feel like I don't hear the voices anymore. And that's a good thing, you know? I feel like many of us, we're getting a bit bored of it. But it has been traded out for Aphelios, so how far away? How far away are the voices really? You know?
The call is coming from inside the house. You thought you got rid of the BS, but it was in fact the OG BS with the Aphelios coming back to reclaim their throne. Yeah, it can feel like it sometimes that you end up kind of, you know, circles, I suppose. You know, as much as you the more we change, the more we stay the same. We'll see. Neve and Mako looking for that very powerful level 1, but I feel like Abel and PP God should be very aware that this is going to be happening.
Right, surely. They would never get caught out by a Rakan W at level 1.
Well, they did, because immediately we see the flash have to be used. I will say they get a fair bit of chunk back onto lead, but it's been equaled out, so summoner advantage already for EDG. I will say, in the grand scheme of things, not really going to mean that much of a difference until we start getting, you know, to level 3, but even then, the flash should be back up.
Yeah. Level 3, level 4, we'll see how much impact can be had with that flash gone. We saw in game number 1 the power of Zyrakan as a duo of the early levels. I think, generally, this is going to sound really weird because I'm about to compliment it in the same sentence. I think generally the 2v2 is a bit overrated, but it's still very strong, if that makes sense. Like, I think people consider it pretty much an unwinnable 2v2 in many senses, but it is still got its weaknesses. In this case, however, it's just good trading from EDG, and also adaptation I quite like here, and I don't really feel like I see it often, is Glacial and Rakan. Now, I think when you're talking about 2 immobile champions, if you knock up one, the slow ray is going to hit the other, but not only that, you also reduce the damage of the target that you hit. And that's another flash force. Mako's really going hard.
Mako will get punished on the backside of this one here, but got his mark. Again, flash for an AD carry versus a flash for a support is far more valuable. Aki gonna have to try and cover this bot side. So here comes JJ. They really want to try and force this one back. Abel and PP God neither have flash, neither have anywhere to go. He will not be wasting his cleanse. That's just really smart pathing here from EDG.
Yeah, and part of me, of course, I want to praise JJ and EDG for the punish, but surely Aki has to just come off the Krugs. He has to be waiting in the tri-bush. You can see where the lane is. I think it's just a bit greedy looking for the camp, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially when you're on this side of the map, you can see how volatile the 2v2 already has been. As the replay is going to kick off all the way back here. Flash for flash. You always take that trade. Support flash for AD flash.
Kind of calls it, but then doesn't. Yeah.
It's such a bizarre thing. Like, the wave is still central. You have to just be guarding this, man. There's no other way for me to put it. I hate to be a harsh critic, but you have to just kind of give up your first clear when you see stuff like this going on. I'm not sure what the information was at level 1 either, in terms of where Sejuani was, but I think that's something you have to be considering as an opportunity. And now, that bottom side gank comes through, and the kill goes on to leave no less. So there's now going to be a lead in the bottom side, which EDG are happily going to leverage as well. Shanghai. There's no mana on Ala, but he's got a biscuit, so maybe he can make a chase down happen.
He's trying his very best. Flash, flash!
Whoa!
Oh, one more W auto attack. That could have been a very different situation. JJ very happy knowing that his top lane's doing well. Just sit in this bot side saying, look, yeah, I'm going to stay here. This is my camp spot. I don't give a damn. You're going to have to try and deal with a 3v2 for basically most of this early game.
Yeah, and I'm going to say the C word here. I think Ala cancelled it, the auto attack, as the flash came through. Because a lot of the time, you'll see a member flash away. I think Shanghai might be dead here.
Yeah, no flash this time around. Look at the knockup. Nope, never mind. And yeah, that time around, the Jax is able to get the kill. We'll get the wave crashed in, no problem at all from Shanghai. But yeah, a bit greedy there, to be perfectly honest. Didn't fully confirm the recall had come in.
Yeah. Just a little bit greedy on the overstep. And Ala gets his first kill, solo kill in the top side. And we already mentioned how that's going to be a point of power. It's now engaged on the bottom side. Cancelled out!
Nice handshake, really well done there. Now Aki in this bot side, maybe thinking of a Q there, just try and get the flash in on top of Mako. Will not have the damage to finish it off.
Look at Cream. Cream's here first.
Cream is roaming around, but Ofo not too far behind him either. JJ is still in the area with a Bounty Cinder, so in that early rotation out, but already OMG trying to up the pace right now, recognizing that if they play standard, EDG are probably just going to own them.
Exactly. Unless I mean, do we need a replay of the solo kill? To be fair, let's see. I mean,
wow, how did he not see him?
I'm I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure. The unfortunate scenario is that SHANGHAI just uses cooldowns on the wave, right?
Yeah.
If he's able to, like, you know, use the W as he's channeling up the Q here, maybe he gets the knockup and probably turns the kill around. That's why Arla goes for it now.
Ooh, okay, it's getting very weird. It's getting very dicey all of a sudden. We can see both teams getting very antsy. OMG come out with the dragon. It's Cream just land the charm, but not going to be able to kind of force anything else off of that. But while the reason that was able to happen was actually SHANGHAI was roaming down the minimap, so he's going to lose a huge amount of CS here. And Ala might actually get the blast cone. If Ala takes the blast cone over there, I think he forced out his ult. So really nicely done there by SHANGHAI to recognize Ala's probably waiting in the brush for him. He doesn't let him kind of get that easy trade back for himself.
Yeah, exactly. SHANGHAI, despite, you know, coming back up here late to that CS, he's even with Ala. So that feels fine. He's going to be down in XP for sure. And he ate the wave in mid lane. So this is one of the few times where, you know, sometimes in the LPL, I do feel like we get some very strange pictures. That's actually useful information.
That's a relevant one, yes.
That's a super relevant one. So that's what was going on whilst I believe the dragon was being scuffled over. So the trade is okay. And as you can see, now that we've got a click on, we had a click on SHANGHAI very briefly. He's about even in XP. So it's not even the end of the world anymore.
No, it's just the gold, to be perfectly honest. Other than that, there's not really much of a difference. Aki now with the cease and desist is coming up towards this top side. Still no flash on Ala, so if he goes aggressively with the leap strike, he could just be straight up dead. He's going to do it. Yep, he goes aggressive, and now he's going to be caught in a lot of trouble. SHANGHAI going to try and maybe go for it. Needs to be very careful with how far forward he goes. But baits it out absolutely perfectly. Aki returns the favor for his top laner. We get ourselves a 2-1. Did he miss the cannon?
Aki smited it to try and help the wave clear, but SHANGHAI channeled the Q for too long, so he missed it.
I haven't heard you gasp like that in so long that it's like, it could have been the greatest outplay ever, or it could have been a cannon miss.
Look, man, the cannon miss, it's painful, you know. It's like, don't forget, cannons are like worth an entire wave in gold, right? It's like in the early stages,
actually, 90 gold.
63. Yeah, early stages like 63, then it scales up to 90 something.
True.
You know. It's a lot of gold to miss, man.
You know a lot about your minions. You were the one who told me that minions in mid lane are worth 1 less gold.
Did you? And you didn't know that? And the
I
cannons
didn't
are
know
worth
that
10
because I only came in this year. I went into a deep dive. I went into a deep dive with the minion changes because I was like, that's so relevant. The 100 minions in the first 14 minions, 100 gold.
Yeah, man. And the cannons are worth 10 less gold. I can't remember the timers and when they start being valued.
Finesse. 14 minutes. It's 14 with the it's 14 minutes.
See, now you're the studied one up.
I had to study, man. You exposed a gap in my knowledge, and I was like, what? Mid laner's getting finessed right now with these dealings.
Exactly, and I've got to say, SHANGHAI's so bored now of the top lane matchup that he's role playing the jungler. Just goes into JJ's jungle, steals away the Raptors. I wonder if JJ is going to pop up there and be like, huh? Why are these gone?
Wait a minute.
What happened?
I thought we saw Aki bot lane.
Whoa.
I mean, it makes sense. You kind of, you know, the wave's in a really poor position, to be perfectly honest, for SHANGHAI, so he's able to just kind of, until he can get Aki up here to reset it, it's going to be in a bad spot for him pretty much indefinitely. JJ will be spotted out here, so they know this is going on. PP God flashes away, but that was a Glacial Prison kind of committed here. JJ being aggressive on will have to flash himself. That's a flash for flash, so honestly, that's a pretty worth trade, if I'm being honest, for OMG. You're not really worried about PP God. You need JJ to be able to close the distance.
And I'll always say, and you'll hear support players echo the same sentiment, if you lose your flash, but you gain flash from basically any other position besides the opponent's support in most cases, you're okay with that. So, like you say, OMG's fine. SHANGHAI, I mean, he's got the lumberjack skin on, right? So he likes being around trees and jungles and things like that, and he's continuing his escapades in farming jungle camps. He's letting Ala stack up this wave, and he just doesn't really want to get involved. We had a brief flash of the gold. I did miss it, but realistically, Ala's not going to be too far behind, at least going by the inventory of what's in the items right now. So it's quite Giga Chat, to be honest. SHANGHAI's just role-playing as both.
He's just getting himself going and keep himself relevant in this top lane matchup. Gotta love to see it. We'll see Shelly getting her debut in this game on the bot side will be fully cleared out by Cream, so it's just going to be the one plate you would imagine. So not ideal, if I'm being totally honest. You would love to get at least minimum 2, but now SHANGHAI, he's just going to be able to hold this wave away. Did he wish another cannon?
He missed another cannon.
-3.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but you know, sometimes you lose games, you know, and they're not losing the game, but mentally for SHANGHAI, missing that many cannons has to do something to a man. That aside though, take a look at the bottom side now. EDG, they're on this dragon. They do have lane prior in first move, but the collapse is definitely very real, and the threat is there. Arky and Cream can very easily lock down one member of Sheen, so see whether or not they can get that done.
They have the
Dragon's
hostile takeover. Eventually coming out, they've moved themselves in now. There goes the event horizon as they try and jump in onto the backside here. Stolen away. Green got it with the spell book. The hostile takeover is great. The Rakan is dead, and here comes SHANGHAI Ruben in with all the power of a freight train. Fofo does still have flashes, still to be able to get away. It's actually a double kill to Renata because of the hostile takeover, and SHANGHAI can TP back top, still collect this wave.
It's a disaster for EDG. That all comes up OMG from start to finish. Arky gets rezzed with the bailout, and I never want to hear Everfrost hate on Ari again because he just stole the dragon with it. Absolutely insane. EDG get kind of daylight robbery here, and they lose out on everything. Let's see. Or did he have Smite through Spellbook? No, he didn't. It would
no, he didn't. He just straight up steals it.
Yeah. Q and F. I'm pretty sure it's just...
How? How?
And look at this hostile takeover as well. Hits 3. So EDG are just putting out no DPS at that point. A really, really good team fight for OMG. And they get everything that they could have asked for in that exchange.
Everything and more, to be perfectly honest. It just kind of stabilized the bot lane a little bit. Yes, we are still going into a gale force of leave, but now with the just getting the call finished up there for Abel, he should be able to get it back and finish off one of his own. So really nicely done there by OMG. And now they're 2 dragons up. It is still an Ocean Soul, not the most impactful in the game, but when you have a Scion, when you have a Vi, things that can sustain very nicely in this game, might have them go for some more, but maybe Fofo might be in a bit of trouble. Does have flash, so would be able to kind of bring it back forward. Doesn't bring him quite underneath the tower. Get the charm down, get the Everfrost in. They're going to go inside the cage, and the baby shall rage as there's nothing the Veigar can do.
Exactly. Inside his own cage. A little Yordle is. Great play from OMG. It's just a nice pick. We're not going to get anything per se off the back of it unless they can maybe rotate down as a unit. They'll get a plate, so more additional gold. That's always going to go the good. That'll feel nice. And I think the ultimate as well is going to be back up from the side of Aki by the time the Herald respawns. So all is well, and they just pick up a real nice play. Now, EDG will trade out some gold on the bottom side of the map, but it's split between 2 members, the plate, so it's kind of a consolation prize at that point.
We'll wait to see. We'll say that the cooldown or the ability haste you get from Black Cleaver is kind of disgusting because it has 2 ability haste items in it. It has the Caulfield's Warhammer and the Kindle Gem, so you get a disgusting amount.
Just for banter, a little bit of funnies in it. It just gets a random 10 extra haste once it's completed out of those components.
Well, it wouldn't have it any other way.
No, neither.
What's the point of having an item if it doesn't give me all the stats all the time? Yeah, I was going to say, he actually took the damage there a little bit. Not quite sure how.
I'm very surprised that SHANGHAI did not press his Arky when he got the Q slowdown, because you 100% force out Flash. I don't know.
A little knock up there, but it's going to be a red-white, and they're going to be able to continue to fight. Hostile takeover is just that, hostile. That is OMG now finding picks, and this is starting to get a bit worrisome now for EDG. They're not too far behind in goal, but this is how OMG love to play. They're skirmish heavy. They love to put down the hurt and keep you off tempo.
Exactly. OMG will always play this game. It's what they were molded in. They grew up in summer, and they've matured into an excellent team who will make this a very disciplined, replayable scenario time and time again. So EDG really have to just kind of check themselves, slow the game down a bit to the best of their ability, and just ensure they're not overstepping, giving Aki a reason to go forward, press his Aki, as again, he just finds out another member with his art off cooldown.
And look, I'm sure there's plenty of people in chat right now talking about how it's, I'm gonna stop myself there, Mako. They have to use the flash here. Is he? There is an
Yeah,
ult.
he's
Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, Cream didn't have full information of where everybody else was going to be, but BB God's got 3 kills. And normally, I would totally agree with you. That's a memeable situation. Haha, very funny. However, I actually do believe getting that Shirelia's Revelry up and online as early as it is now just opens up so much more of this mid-game kind of tempo available to OMG. And yes, obviously, not gonna lie, you would much prefer to have it on a Aphelios or the Ahri or something like that. But having that extra team fight movement speed can be significant. And look, I'm gonna say it, you know, you get all, there's no kill steals in League of Legends, just kill secures.
No. Exactly. And I will also add, like, movement speed is generally, unless, again, like, you're always gonna feel a HYCAN running at you with 1,000 movement speed. He's gonna one-shot. But what you might not always feel, but is always gonna be present, is that extra 25, 30, 40% movement speed just for half a second. That's gonna make a difference, Aki.
You're gonna see the ghost being popped there by Fofo. Keep him in a pretty decent spot for the Summoner Spellbook, so moving himself away. But this is already seeing able to take a fair chunk of damage. See if there's any plants for him to be able to kind of work with. Cream dancing away here. Does get caught up a little bit by the sun and will flash away before the event horizon can come down. TP from top does mean that Allah is in the fight now. They haven't gotten rid of the vision in the back of the pit, so they know exactly what's going on here. Allah on a master flank. PP God knows it as well. No hostile takeover. 3-man gone. And can they find any more onto it? They're trying to just jump onto Allah. They've killed off the Vi. They've got the damage. Oh my God, that Moonlight Vigil was huge to try and keep this one in, but Shanghai has nowhere left to go. There's no follow-up after it. I thought they could have turned it around, but it's EDG who get themselves 2 kills and the Dragon.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing here is that Shanghai's just not in the front line. He's behind everybody. EDG just make the call to go and collapse on the 4. Even though Shanghai eventually makes it to that front line fight, doesn't really matter because Allah's got that backline access. Great flank, great 3-man stun on the backline with no hostile takeover to stop that from happening. The fight that ensues is just nasty. It's a great pinch up, all in all, from EDG. And it all just comes from the fact that Shanghai can't quite reposition in time. And as well, it's also to do with this chunk that Abel was playing into this fight with. Flash away from Cream, great engage at the very start. The hostile takeover is effectively just a bit redundant by the time it's cast. And here, Allah, Q into insta-flash, very hard to react to be honest. And Abel just has nowhere to go with no summoner spells. Does eventually get forced to reposition. And this Moonlight Vigil, it hits multiple members, but it's not a 3-item Aphelios soul.
No.
That's the thing. So it's not one-shotting all the squishies. It's just enough to deter a chase down. And EDG find themselves finally a fight back into this game.
We'll see the Rift Herald dropped into mid. I'll keep the game relatively equal as the Dragon did go over to EDG. Shanghai now pushing up at this top side. Doing a fair bit of work onto it himself, I must admit. Get ourselves back into a live game. Most of the first items being completed by everybody across the board. I will say Cream is loving this Banshees right now. Just loves the fact that he can go for something that gives him a little bit of extra survivability in potentially some of these fights. He just brute forcing his way forward.
I've been loving it though. I think in all the games he's done it, it's made sense, right? Like this game now, for example, Glacial Prison can't really be used once he has it picked up. He can also walk through a baby cage. Like it's a pretty okay pickup. Get again, and I can hear the cries. Where's the damage items? Oh, he doesn't need them. It's fine. Like, you know, I think. Sorry to be distracted. I think JJ wanted to go over the wall with the blast gun. But yeah, either way,
it happens.
You've got the Everfrost for the setup, and the Banshees are going to keep you alive against pretty key and top, like high value skills and abilities. So for a third game, I don't mind it at all. And we'll just see whether or not EDG can play around it. This game, I feel like they actually don't have too many tools to proc it. I think in previous games, they've had ways to remove it before a team fight happens, right? Shanghai was very willing, time and time again, to just use his Rocket Belt in that direction so that Cream didn't have the Banshees for the initial engage. No tool like that in this game, so the Banshees does have even more value.
And he finishes it up, gets himself back onto that bot side. He should be able to kind of continue his bot lane presence. Do have a TP on Shanghai, but none on to Cream. 2 minutes till the next Dragon. Rift Herald is live. Excuse me, not Rift Herald, Baron. We're at 20 minutes now at this stage in the game, but Baron is live. That could potentially be the next point of call for either of these teams. PP God does get stunned up a little bit. I think actually in much damage whatsoever. They're going to jump straight in here with Shanghai. The feathers come back, but he's already pretty damn tanky. Losing the
They want it.
Cyan ultimate for the Xayah ultimate's pretty good because that means
Oh
you can
my
do stuff like
God.
this. And we're going to see, though, a lot of movement all the way back, and Aki goes way too far forward.
It's not even Aki's fault. He just presses R on Leave, who's already quite far back, but then he just flashes and Gale Forces and brings him to Narnia. Nothing they could do. That's an Event Horizon to Shanghai. He's fine, though. I think EDG just going to disengage, but with no jungler. Baron potentially on the cast. A Sheen. That's a lot of poke damage.
It needs to be done as well, as Fofo almost taken out there by the back end of it.
Oh.
And the extra added damage, but OMG do lose another kill. Zaki goes a little bit too far forward, but again, they lost the flash off of Leave, and they've lost the ult as well, so I see Lee be a little bit more careful with his positioning as he doesn't have those key cooldowns for the next few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Flash, big one. Still has cleanse. I think also one very minute detail that was maybe lost is I think the fact that Mako knocked up Shanji whilst Leave was in the air. It stopped Shanji from channeling the Q as Leave comes back down. Which means that maybe, you know, cleanse can still be saved, or at the very least there's no immediate follow-up, which is pretty huge in the beginning of that play. But eventually makes OMG overextend in the long run, although specifically Arky unfortunately get taken on a journey behind Leave. Dragon's up in 30 seconds, and with that flash being down now, as mentioned, Leave is going to have to reposition very carefully. I think just taking stock of the items real quick. 2 items available on both AD carries. Mid lane as well, 2 items on deck and ready. That's what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure it's the W knock up here. This stops the Q from being channeled down. So maybe saves Leave his cleanse as we're getting a T-Tour of this. Look how far he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone very
great.
far, but we got no time because now Leave in a lot of trouble. He's going to get clapped on by Cream. The hostile takeover is good. The cleanse comes out. Cream gets exhausted on the back end of this. Abel has to cleanse himself. Still has flash available should he need it. But the Event Horizons are just doing so much right now. The bailout's just going to do nothing. This Veigar gets a triple kill. Veigar gets a quadra kill. Fofo just explodes onto the map. And out of nowhere, EDG just get everything.
Wow. Wow. EDG just rolled them over. And I mean, for me, this is just a bit of a difference in not AD carry to AD carry, but in terms of what Leave has in the toolkit to just stop himself from being engaged on. Featherstorm is just so powerful here. Arky, I think, went in again, but the ultimate just gets cancelled out. There's nothing you can do about it, and that was the choice made at B1 in this draft, right? It's always Xayah or Vi, and they went for the Vi, they give over the Xayah or Khan. And this time, it just makes it so difficult to dive in. And you'll see in the replay, I'm pretty sure Arky casts his Arky, if my memory's right, on Leave yet again, but it doesn't end up mattering.
No, it really doesn't. Watch Fofo. Fofo just gets ignored the entire time. They're all trying to jump onto Leave, and then Fofo just pops down his cage and says, cool, I can continue to put down damage because no one's touching me.
Yep, it's quite a frustrating game to play out from the perspective of OMG in these team fights. I think it's just because your engage can be nullified so easily, and if you try and go onto Fofo, then you're leaving the DPS up. As available via Leave. It's a tough choice. It's a tough choice to make. And not only that, very soon, I imagine there's going to be a stopwatch for Fofo or Zhonya's. And look at that in the inventory. There's a stopwatch as he goes towards Void Staff. So Arky's role in this game becomes more difficult, a little more unclear, and other members have to try and force out those key tools before he can actually go for the lockdown. He can't really be the primary engage anymore.
No, that's literally it. And when you're talking about a Vi, that's all she does is engage. Now we're going to see Dorelia's used, is able to just get this Gale Force out. That is still a pretty tanky Shanji. Not tanky enough. It only has a no magic mantle, but that magic is starting to do overwhelming amounts of damage. 5,000 gold lead now, 10-5 in kills, 2 dragons apiece, but EDG in firm control after they took the Baron as well.
Yeah, absolutely. EDG just have complete control. They can do what they want. The baby cage as well can zone away everybody as they just take down this tower. They'll get the inhib if they so want it, and it looks like they do. OMG just have to throw a bit of a Hail Mary here, see what they can find. But the issue is, it can just never be on to Leave, and there's still a stopwatch on Fofo. So, you know, at that point you're like, well, okay, killing JJ is a bit too hard. He's very tanky. Let's go on Mako, but then you get one-shot by everyone else. So there's just no real good choice here right now for OMG.
There really isn't. As we can see, a big TP coming in from Shanji, but they're going the opposite direction, my dude. See if they go for they now know that they're a bit separated in. Here we go. Choo-choo. Can they catch anybody out? The Karma's great onto Mako. That's going to stop a lot of this counter engage coming out. Cream trying to see if he can catch out Leave. Shanji here. Ala trying to see if he has got enough mana. He didn't have enough mana for the Leap Strike. He couldn't get back onto those two squishy targets. It is only a 1 for none. But OMG, they have to keep throwing those. They got to keep trying to get these proactive plays because they are just going to lose the game otherwise.
Yeah, they are. They have to just keep on looking for it. They have to just throw the kitchen sink at EDG here. And as for the perspective of EDG, they just need to be very respectful of any potential opportunity that OMG could find themselves having. And that's it. They can just steer this to a Game 3 victory, get themselves up to series point. Super simple game in my mind for them to navigate here.
TP from Ala.
Yeah, it was. It's that's a true top lane main TP. That's like, hey, I think I can get this no.
Yeah. Hang on. I've thought about it, and it wasn't the best of ideas coming into this one here. But I mean, look, we can kind of talk about all the different things that are happening in the game, but I'm worried that putting Shanji on Sion duty is not how OMG have been able to win games. It's not how they've been able to get to this position right now in this top 4. Having him just constantly getting low priority in the pick ban was not what got them here to the top 4. So I need to see them, if they do end up winning or losing this one, either way, they still get another game. They need to change that up. I need to see nearly first pick priority coming back into Shanji because he's just not getting the resources.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think even though EDG, admittedly did put 5 bans into the top lane pool, as well as pick their top at R3, something has to be done about that top lane priority, because I think right now, Shanji has just had 2 games where he's not looked particularly good on this Sion. And like you're mentioning, it's just not his core strength or identity even, really. He's capable, but this game has just not been it. Now that's an engage.
They're going in. Mako has to flash away. They're not going to be able to kill him off. Aki goes gold in the hostile takeover to try and give some time. The Moonlight Vigil is okay, but not exceptional. Ala goes golden to try and keep going. This is underneath the tower. Got 3 kills and nobody goes down from EDG. You can see they're just trying so desperately here as OMG, but no one's dying.
Yeah, OMG just barely don't have the damage to find anything. So many low health bars. But in the end, it's not going to matter. They're going to get their second inhibitor of this game. Are they going to look for the end? It's 5v2. The health bars are low, but they know Abel doesn't have big AoE guns, and they found him. Machine, he's gone.
He's dead. EDG starting to ramp up, starting to warm up into this series. They lost game number 1, but the last 2 have been all about them, all about the power that they can get from this top lane and move it around the map. We'll see Mako go down, but it's all just a consolation prize as EDG move themselves to 2-1 in this series.
Clean game. Clean game this time around. I think OMG had their moments, but far less than game number 2. And EDG just kind of, to a point, muting OMG's options so well, whether it be via draft or it be via itemization in some cases towards the later stages of that game. The true engage option was just through Aki, was through the Vi, and his job to do that against Xayah, Veigar, and everything else really that EDG had just gets so difficult, and it does make me beg the question and kind of look back at that B1 priority for the Vi, because whenever you see this trade when Vi and Xayah are up, the often thing to do is just to go Xayah first pick, because that way, even if you end up going against the Vi, you always have that one tool where you know it's just going to be a consistent thing of, okay, we're not going to have to deal with this, and we can go Wukong, who is arguably a stronger jungler, into Xayah, because you've got 2 opportunities to knock her up, and the first time you'll knock her up, she'll probably R, and then you knock her up as she comes back down. This time around, when you've got the Vi, you don't get that same level of simplicity on the engages. I think actually Wukong might have been banned in this particular game, but either way, you get the idea. You never want to be the one on